Welcome back, everybody. Super famous streamers. Second episode of our watch through of RWBY proper, the show here. I've got with me both Aaron and Angelo from the previous episode.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
And unless we have anything we want to say before we get into it,
No, just let's straight to it.
this is sort of the Hogwarts moment. It's obviously what they're going for here. I think they do a pretty good job. I do think Beacon, as is sort of exemplified by the popularity of this era and the setting of Beacon. I mean, everyone kind of likes the Hogwartsy magic school setting, but I think Beacon does do a pretty good job of it, having a good aesthetic, being interesting. I do just wish we got to explore it a little bit more.
That's
You know,
exactly what I was going to say.
the episodes are very short, and we only have 3 volumes here. And I think if we had maybe just gotten, if we gotten like 1, 2, 3, all here, all character focused, all in Beacon, sort of, we can explore the grounds a little bit more, and we can also give ourselves more time of the the character focused, low stakes stuff. Because I think if you know about the production a little bit, and also if you just watch the show, you can probably intuit it that they were kind of laying the track in front of them as they went. And I think that the kickoff being in Volume 3 and then it gets heavy after that, I think it would have been beneficial if they had one more volume of just staying at Beacon, exploring Beacon, and having fun, doing character building and arcs and stuff like the previous 2 volumes throughout Volume 3, and then Volume 4 can be the fall. I think that would have been both cool for sticking around and further fleshing out our sort of Huntsman Hogwarts here that everybody seems to enjoy, and also it would have given them a bit more time to iron things out before the kickoff.
Do
So I feel
you
like,
honestly feel that one more volume would have made that difference?
I
Uh,
think it would have made a big difference. What is it
yeah,
necessarily optimal? No, maybe a fifth volume would have been cool. I don't know, maybe. But I know that they did want to kick it off. They didn't want to spend too long here, years producing. They wanted to get to it eventually. And as much as I like this setting, and I think it would have been cool to stick
yeah,
around, I think that
like
at least getting one more volume would have done a lot.
I
I
feel
I
like,
do.
I feel like, I feel like if we had had one more volume, that it would have kind of made it a little bit easier to kind of do that transition because we would be a little bit more familiar, like with the world in itself in general, and a lot more familiarized with the characters. Not that we aren't familiar with them at the end of Volume 3, but it would have made it a little bit more like almost personal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like how Ryan was saying, a little bit more of the low stakes stuff, like just
Mm,
not passing a test or being worried about a combat mission or something like that. I do
Yeah.
I do hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily believe that another volume or two would have helped. I just feel like it again. Just coming back to the writing, I just feel like if it was written a certain way, like if I hate to say written better, then
Yeah.
it would just make sense having the first 3 volumes just and then them leaving. I just feel like if it was just written a little better, like focused on some more main points, because I do feel like they go. It does feel like they go. How do you say it? Like the low stake stuff. Like they start getting into that, and then all of a sudden they just jump into, oh well, they're gone. They're leaving.
Yeah.
I feel
it
like
goes
if they
from
would have focused on some more like main storylines, like more I guess plot driven stuff,
In the
more.
first two?
Yes, honestly, I feel like if they would just like ramp into it rather than this slow start, which I'm not saying I don't like. I'm just saying for I guess the the speed that they were wanting to go to. I feel like it's like they start slow, then start ramping up and start just accelerating super fast into the story because they want to hurry up and get out of it. Is how I
I
feel.
I feel like also part of the problem is that, this is like an original work. Like there's no like source material for it. When, there are shows like, like Game of Thrones, for example, I feel like it's probably the best example that we can use, honestly. For the first like 6.5, 7 seasons, it was a fantastic show. It had good pacing, like everything just felt right. And then whenever you get to the end of the show, they run out of source material, and it's just like it feels very rushed. The ending is bad. Even the actors that were playing in the show didn't like the ending and how everything was done. And I feel like that's very, not necessarily very like reminiscent of this situation, but I feel like it's a very good like example of how, not necessarily how poorly things can go, but how rushed things feel whenever you don't necessarily have like a roadmap, like Ryan said, where you're just like laying the track in front of you as you're going through it.
Well,
Well,
two things. One, season 7 is the final season, and it was kind of wonky a couple
Oh,
seasons
sorry.
before that for Game of Thrones. But two, I think first off, like I said, if you know about the production, I like to start with the plot in volume 1 may have been completely impossible because they were figuring out what they were going to do for the plot throughout the production of 1 and 2 is my understanding. And I just think that I don't think they needed to get into the plot sooner. I think
Mhm.
that start people out slow, introduce them, let it be low stakes and character driven for a few seasons while they're figuring out what they're going to do for the grander plot, and then get into that with the fall of Beacon. I think that's a good plan. It just needed to be done better. And I'm not saying that this amount of time couldn't have worked with better writing or that one more volume would have fixed everything. But I think that one more volume, given the writers we had and where they were and fleshing things out, one more volume would have both helped them not be kind of like cobbling it together as they go as much and also given us more of a setting that a lot of people liked.
Mhm.
yeah, to just brush on what Aaron said, um, like I know they don't have source material, but they have examples like in anime back then, and a lot of the 12 episodes animes that came out back in the 2010s. The one that comes to mind, Akame ga Kill. Um, they actually, it's there's always, back then there was a lot of anime specific endings, and then there's manga endings because the manga would take a little longer to come out. And uh, spoiler for a 10 plus years show, when Tatsumi dies, in the anime he doesn't die in the manga, or he, it's been so long, but it, either way, it's just like Game of Thrones, but in the anime setting where they run out of source material, so they finish it, and they have to finish it in the show, because what are they going to do? Wait until the manga ends? No, they have deadlines. They have to finish it. And back to what Ryan was saying, like the example, or what I was saying, is like in a perfect world where they could go back and flesh out, like if they couldn't extend the volumes or whatever, they just had to redo everything, like not necessarily from scratch, but well, essentially they would have to go through and redo everything from scratch. But I feel like with the right writing and pacing, they could jump into it, and by volume 3 we're ready to come out of Beacon. Um, of
Maybe if
course,
the
knowing.
episodes were maybe if the episodes were a little bit longer, I would agree. But I'm more inclined to agree with Ryan where they would need, like at least like one more volume to just to make it comfortable. Because I do feel like the 3 volumes with what all they go through, the first 2 volumes just being like setup and then like figuring out the plot and doing like a little bit of world building, I feel like isn't enough to necessarily be able to go from that to be like, okay, here's where everything starts to go like kind of off the deep end in terms of plot. We start to get into like the nitty gritty of everything.
That's what always surprised me. People that sort of not necessarily the way Angelo is here, but more vehemently be like, "Oh, we need more of that." And I think it's sort of just sort of a defending how Ruby went thing. But it's like, "Oh, we had plenty of that." And it's like, really? I mean, 2 volumes and like half of the episodes are under 10 minutes. That's really very little. So
Hmm.
Like,
I think that one more, and ideally we would have had the creator the whole time too. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like there's a
Rip
lot we can
Monty.
say
yeah.
about that would have made this
Well,
work better. I just think that, though this or that may also have been effective, one more volume is something that would have been
well,
good
then
for it.
I'll ask you this, Ryan, being our resident Ruby expert. Was was the group that made Ruby, wasn't this like their first like I it's not counting Red versus Blue, but essentially their first big like story. Well, Red versus Blue did have a story, but like
Yeah.
weren't they still new at all this at writing stories, at writing?
Pretty new. I know that basically, uh, Monty Oum said to Kerry, "We should make an anime," and he was like, "Yeah, we
Yeah.
should." And it's like, and he had sort of some of the foundational ideas all ready to go, but they
Yeah,
figured a lot out shortly after that, and just brainstorming with those two and Miles Luna.
because you
So
do see it in like in the volumes 1, 2, like them getting progressively better at it, and then after the unfortunate passing of Monty Oum, they kind of just, I don't know if, I mean, I'm sure they went through a lot or whatever. They just lose focus
They went
is my
they
main
went
thing.
their
And
own direction with it instead of like where Monty was taking it. And I feel like you can
yeah,
definitely tell that.
well, and back in the day, I was like, man, they ruined it. I'm a little bit more charitable now. I think it's just there was a third, depending on your perspective, the most important third is the creator and a big part of it, and depending on what you're trying to get out of the show, for a lot of people, I think he would comprise the most important of the three main writers. And even if Miles and Carrie were doing their best, most earnest, I think that maybe they just couldn't have made it what it was meant to be without that third vital piece. So I'm more charitable than I used to be like, oh, they went off their own direction and ruined everything. And I can't say for sure that there's none of that. There does seem to be a little bit of retconning and stuff that makes me go, so you were just like, we're doing this our way now. There is stuff that seems that way a little bit. But yeah, I think whether regardless of what you think the sentiment was when they went this separate direction, I think they kind of had to tell the story they had, the two of them, because the other guy wasn't there anymore.
yeah, like I don't want to get like jump ahead too much into the story before we get there, but I do feel like if they would have just, and of course this is saying, oh, I wish they would have done this, I wish they could have done that. I mean, it didn't happen, so this is what we have. But
Yeah.
a lot of the other, like, I feel like, and I like to call them like side plots or side objectives that become the main
Objectives.
thing that
Yeah.
just throw the whole story off. And it's like, if you would have just stayed to what the core stuff was and fleshed that out and gotten that right, or not right, but at least concrete, and then maybe added some of the other stuff, not everything that they added in, or the other storylines that they did. But I just
Genies
feel like
come.
if they would have, if like, I don't know, I feel like in the later volumes they were rushed to get these episodes out, because I believe they were trying to meet deadlines with, I think that's when
Yeah.
they
Yeah, Warner Bros.
yeah,
They were,
when they were
especially because
acquired by Warner Bros. And Ruby was their
Ruby
biggest thing at that time when they
at
were
one point,
acquired.
yeah.
Well,
By
whenever Warner
volume
Bros.
three, maybe
was,
even volume two, I think it was their biggest thing. So as time goes on and they've got to meet deadlines for Warner Brothers, it is kind of a lot of the chips are on this one because it's one of, if not their most popular IP.
yeah, I just feel like it's just it's a series of a bunch of unfortunate events that happened, and
Yeah.
we got what we got. And back then, like you said, back then I looked at it through painful and very spiteful eyes, and now, like, kind of what the stuff you bring up, and reading other stuff on my own about how the production and all that was done, you kind of give them a little bit more,
A little bit.
a little
A
bit more
little bit.
leniency, if the tiniest bit. But
Yeah.
we can continue on. That's just all I wanted to say.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to get into some of the things you were speaking about vaguely there because, yeah, I know a little bit about that stuff and it'll be interesting to get more
Yeah.
deeper into it.
The view from Vale's got nothing on this.
Oh,
It's got a collapsible staff! She's got a fire sword! Ow, ow.
I know already I can hear the clicking. But I know it's a tone thing. It's a tone thing. You wouldn't expect that sort of thing to happen as much now that the tone has shifted, but I think a lot of shows can get heavy and deep without completely losing the lightheartedness, and this was I think really when I decided that RWBY was just the RWBY that I liked and that I wanted to continue and that I expected to get was gone. Was in Volume 5 when they're all in the house together. They all finally meet up again and they're like bantering, and it's just not remotely on the same level as it was in the first two. And I am excited to get more in depth into that when we get there. But I think that's the best example. But little things like this are the other example. It's not like I can't necessarily say that this. I need to watch the later stuff again to really comb through to make sure that nothing like this happens at all again. But this sort of thing, the way they would just do things, they would do little anime things like this, and it at the very least happens extremely rarely, and even outside of little chibi floating, uh, you know, art style changes like that, even on less extreme things like just the way they banter and the way they joke. I have a hard time, as much as there's part of me that's willing to just say like, yep, Monty did everything good, because there's a little part of my brain that isn't scared to default there, even if it doesn't make a lot of sense. Realistically, I don't believe that like Monty wrote all the funny dialogue that's goofy, but yet I don't think they can write it like they used to anymore. So however much of that is losing Monty and however much of that is just the tone change, and they somehow or another struggle to get back to that headspace when they're writing, both fun little art changes like this and more subtle things, they just don't seem to exist anymore. And I don't think you can blame it all just on the tone shift the way some people do, because lots of shows can be heavy and serious and dramatic and then still keep their other things, their levity, their little fun things like this going at the same time.
For sure. I don't think you can, like, saying it was the tone shift is the laziest excuse to me, because I mean there's a bunch of shows out there that'll be serious and also have banter, also have lightheartedness. Just because there's a tone shift doesn't mean you can't keep the core of what this show is about there. I mean, there's so many examples that come to mind. Hunter x Hunter, yes, it's a very, very serious show at times, but there's times where Gon and Killua are just, they have banter, they have little quips, even the other characters. There's just because I just talked about it earlier, Akame got killed, Tatsumi, right? Tatsumi.
Yeah, Tatsumi.
Tatsumi
and Mai.
They and Akame, they have banter back and forth. I mean, yes, it's a very serious show too, and they have banter. Chainsaw Man, it's a very serious show, but there's banter and there's just.
Well, and to be clear, there are attempts at levity, and there is banter, like I said in that Volume 5 period where they're all in the house. It's just, not only is it so not the same, and is it the less frequent, sure, tone change, but it's very much not the same, and it's very much not as good. And I people in the comments might disagree. I'm excited to substantiate that when they get there, because I think when you're sitting there in front of it and I'm saying, really, this is as good as it used to be, I think it's going to be a lot harder to defend.
Yeah, to do a callback on our very first episode when we gave those examples of the Battle of Haven. But I do feel like, and that's what I was going to say as well, the later banter just doesn't hit right, I guess you say. It just hits different. I hate saying that phrase, but it just hits different, and not in the good way. Oh shit, Laura,
I'm sorry.
we're gonna have to cut that out. Anyways, yes, it just hits different, not in the good way. I like to compare it to old Marvel and new Marvel banter, and how it changed.
I can see where you're going with that.
Because Captain America is a great example. Back then, he'll be like, "Oh, language," But then, like, I can't think of anything right now, but you, the viewer, know what I'm talking about when I say old Marvel and
Yeah.
new Marvel banters is not the
I
same.
know what you mean, because it's the same writer. It's the same people. At least for the most part, there was some obviously crew change, but like the thing with Marvel is it's new people trying to replicate what the people that wrote good Marvel did. But in this one, it's not new people trying to replicate it, but it sometimes feels that way. Like this is the new Ruby is when you see them kind of doing some things, it feels a bit like a skinwalker wearing
It's the
wearing the skin of something,
Uncanny
and it's just
Valley,
it's
the
just a bit off, and you're like,
Mandela
no,
catalog.
this isn't quite right.
They're alternates.
Yeah,
Do you ever feel
it's
like
alternate.
maybe that kind of like tone shift, similar to like old Marvel versus new Marvel, is not, obviously it's not because of new writers, but it could possibly be because they're trying to like reach to a different audience, and they're trying to kind of like,
I would be very surprised if it's that would be surprising to me. I think it's the same audience, and they know that. I feel like they have to know that because they're very aware of what the audience is saying.
Mhm.
Like they've responded to it a fair bit. So I don't know. I don't know what new audience they would be going for to have it like the banter, but not as good. Because like I said, we're not talking about tone change at this point. We're talking about when they do banter and things, and it's just not the same.
I don't know what I'm doing. What are you doing?
That should have exploded right then and there.
I guess I don't know. I kind of get where you're coming from because if, as we'll see, something else that sets it off here in a moment, if that does it, then I'm not exactly sure why this doesn't. Maybe it's like I don't know. I know that when flour is all in the air, spread throughout a room, and you spark something, it can go off, and it can even be explosive. But I'm not sure if just like, is it the same when it's all condensed in like a jar? Can you just
Well,
I
that's
don't
just
know.
it.
I don't know.
I
I don't
also
necessarily know how
We'll
it
see here in
works.
a little bit, but the jars aren't even
well,
airtight. The
They're
dust
very
is
much not
coming.
airtight. It's true.
Also,
well,
the
they may
Well,
not
maybe
be
it was
miscarriage
airtight, but they're
is
also
coming
all.
out.
Perhaps it was dislodged when she fell on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say they may not all be airtight, but they're also all in boxes right now that are like, I guess they're like custom fit spots for all of the different dust containers.
Doing? Sorry. Sorry? Do you have any idea of the damage
Oh
it would have
yeah,
caused? Give me that.
the show is
This
truly
dust,
starting now.
mined and purified from the Schnee quarry. What are you? Brain dead? Dust, fire, water, lightning, energy. Are you even listening to me? Is any of this sinking in? What do you have to say for yourself?
For the daughter of a multi-billion-dollar company of dust, she really doesn't know how to handle dust.
You need to read Dust for Dummies.
This is exactly the kind of thing I was talking about. I'm really, really sorry. You complete dolt. What
Weiss,
are you
chill
even
out. That's your
doing
wife you're
here?
talking to.
Aren't your little young
Hey.
to be attending Beacon? Well,
Don't pander to
this
me, you
isn't
bastard.
your ordinary combat school. It's not just sparring and practice, you know. We're here to fight monsters, so watch where you're going.
Hey, I said I was sorry, princess. It's Eris, actually. Weiss Schnee, heiress to the Schnee Dust Company, one of the largest producers of energy propellant in the world.
Finally, some recognition.
This same company, infamous for its controversial labor forces and questionable business partners.
What? How dare! The nerve of...
The labor force of your papa's company is heckin' problematic.
Heck.
No, I will say, the first time I got to like volume 4 and I was watching people talk about the big shift and the sort of the first wave of videos about RWBY ain't the same, what happened came out, they would talk about Blake, and even though I was fine with her when I was watching through the first volumes, looking back, and when I initially looked back, I did think to myself, like, I guess I don't know, never really cared that much for Blake. And I don't know how true that was when I was actually watching, but looking back, that's the impression I got, was that she didn't mean that much to me as a character. There wasn't much to her. Now, both knowing more and being less stupid and not a teenager, I guess, but then also rewatching it and being able to catch more subtle things, like, I don't know, little
Mm-hmm.
facial expressions and background things I didn't necessarily notice before. There's lots of things that contributed to it, but I definitely appreciate Blake a lot more now than I used to. However, McQueen is correct in all things, so I have to give her shit about this.
Welcome to Beacon.
Hey. I'm Jean.
Yeah, the main
Ruby.
characters here.
Miles,
Are
I
you
mean
the guy that
Jean.
threw up on the ship?
The hero of the story.
Zoe hasn't showed up yet.
All I'm saying is that motion sickness is a much more common problem than...
Yeah, on the main character Miles Luna thing, I think John is not bad. People give him shit for being a self-insert. There are things to criticize. We'll get to it. I do think there's something in Volume 1 to touch on that could have been done better. But overall, it reminds me of Vince McMahon. I guess he's gotten in trouble. I don't know, but I do know that he could have, being like the main writer for a long time and owner of the company, he could have made himself some invincible god in the WWF. He didn't. He's the asshole boss that gets his ass kicked and cannot keep up with the actual the wrestlers. And I always kind of appreciated that he took that angle. And similarly, as much as he's not quite as bad as the character of Vince McMahon, Jean is like the kind of dork that snuck his way in and is struggling to keep up and has to like work hard to sort of get to everyone else's level. They didn't really make him like a Gary Stu. I think some people's vision is clouded by certain people in the fan base and like fan fiction and stuff that turn Jean into the main character hero guy. But I don't think that's really what they do in the show, and I don't know that it's a fair reading to be like, oh, this is a cringe self-insert, get him out of here. I think he's fine. I think they do a pretty good job with his character, and it's not just like giving Miles Luna a cool self-insert character. I don't think that's an accurate reading. All right, cool. I'm glad we're in agreement.
No, I do feel like at first I didn't even realize that Miles Luna was a part of part of writing the show, and so him as a character, I was like, oh well, he was always an interesting character, being the weakest, and being like, okay, well, what's his angle? How is he? How was he here in the first place if he's so weak? And just seeing that transition, of course, there's some flaws in his character, but it's not as bad as like you said, Ryan, as everybody's saying, or some people say. I do feel like he's a good character overall as well.
In terms of self-inserts, he's very tame as opposed to others.
Yeah, and it's like, I know he's more front and center, but it's like fucking Monty voices someone. You know what I mean? It's like he's not the only, writer.
That's cool.
So what do you got?
Oh, I got this sword.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've got a shield too.
So what did they do?
Whoa, that's the shield gets smaller, so when I get tired of carrying it, I can just put it away.
But wouldn't it weigh the same?
Yeah, it does.
Well,
He sounds so
I'm kind of a
defeated.
dork when it...
All right, look, episode 2 of Justice for Jean right now. Justice for Jean. That's what I'm doing here. First off, it collapsing into a sheath that you can then put the sword in and hang on your belt is very useful, even if it weighs the same. Like, I would expect it to weigh the same. It's still a very useful function. I know they're doing a little joke here, but it's not fair to have him be like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. No, that's a good. That's still good. Second, I know it's like, oh, it's a family heirloom. Oh, it's not as cool. The only thing holding his weapon back from being like on par with the other ones is just it doesn't have a gun mode. If one of those shot something, he really wouldn't be any less complex or
Just give him
effective or
like
anything or fancy, you know?
just give him a Final Fantasy gunblade.
Yeah, like just he combines them and the whole thing turns into a rifle or something. Then he really wouldn't be behind them at all.
I think he just needs a sidearm of a blunderbuster, a flintlock.
Hey, where are we going?
Oh, I don't know. I was following you.
I don't know how she expected for both of the brand new people who literally just walked off the flying boat to know anything about where they were going.
Well, to be fair, it's a big sidewalk straight into a giant building. I don't know how they got turned around.
That's true, yeah.
Well-
I guess that's true.
If you'd be paying attention to these 2 episodes, Ruby is a bit of an airhead, and so is Jean.
Yeah, Ruby's autistic as shit.
Part of the charm. That's part of the charm.
She
it's
is
okay.
the spectrum. And
Also,
Hell
Jean
yeah,
is
I
on
love it
as
too. I
well.
wouldn't have it any other way. More, please, I say.
What is Ruby's
Also,
and
I-
Jean's ship name? Ryan?
Oh, Lancaster, I think.
That's lame.
Lancaster.
Is
You
that it?
can tell
That's
how
so
good of a ship something is whenever by name. Lancaster, terrible name.
I'm gonna have to look
White
this
Rose, Elite.
up. Elite. It's not even. It's funny because nothing even comes close. It's actually wild.
Also, I would like to call back to what you said earlier about us not being able to see a lot of the school, because I feel like this school is portrayed to be just like absolutely massive, but I feel like the only time we ever even really see a lot of it is during the fall of Beacon, whenever everything is being destroyed.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when we see the most of it.
I
It's
really-
actually just
really
two
just
big,
wanna see more of it.
2 or 3 big rooms. This auditorium, which is the lunchroom they fight in, the 2 classrooms that we see, and then Ospin's office
And then
on
their
top.
dorms.
That's all it is.
Yeah, no, it's like a massive grounds, but the classrooms and the dorms are all squished into corners, and it's just a massive fuck off auditorium they don't need in the middle.
Ruby, over here! I saved you a spot! Oh, hey, I gotta go. I'll see you after the ceremony.
Hey, wait! Ah, great. Where am I supposed to find another nice, quirky girl to talk to?
How's your
I like that
Insert
bit.
best girl in the series.
I like that bit. A lot of people when they first see this, they're like, "Oh, that budget." When they see the shadow people, and it's not really, It's I'm sure that saving time and budget was nice, but as I understand, it was because a lot of manga and anime and stuff have
It's
that.
very reminiscent.
Yeah,
To me, it's very reminiscent of like the Persona series, because in the same vein, they do also for like all like the background or like non-named characters, they do have like just like ambiguous forms where there's just enough detail to be able to tell it's a person, but not enough definition to be able to distinguish them from anybody else in the background.
yeah, and so it just didn't translate that well on Ruby as as they were expecting, and so
I feel
I
like
think
got
it
rid of
does.
I feel like if
I like it. I didn't like whenever they got rid of it. I was like, oh, like a part of Ruby to me, kind of like, oh well, they're changing
Yeah.
it. I feel there's a charm to it. I do like it. I think it's a very nice aesthetic choice.
fair enough.
I like
I
it
was
a lot.
never.
I like it as well,
I
too.
I never mourned it. I think I'm happy with them animating the background characters. I think I do appreciate the gags they can do like that. Where am I gonna get find another nice quirky girl to talk to, and then just appear as they're radiating bright red amongst all the shadow people. I do like little gags like that.
I feel like if they really wanted to pull it off really well, then they would have had to at least do something with them instead of just making them like black figures in the background. I feel like there's too many people in the background for it. It's almost kind of jarring to see the main characters just like all bright and colorful, and then everybody else is just a black figure.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's a little jarring to see that, and I feel like it would have been a lot.
Would you
feel like
prefer
it
if
would
they
have
were
been
white
better
figures? Is that the
necessarily.
issue? Is that your issue?
No. I feel like it would have just been like a little bit more like appealing if they had made it to where there was like at least some form of like definition, even if it wasn't a lot. Just like shirt and pants and like a skin color.
I don't know,
You know what
because
I
then
mean?
you get into the issue of the stuff that happens in anime and manga a lot, where every other person is a normal person, but the main character has the wacky hair, the different outfit, and stuff like
Well,
that.
I wouldn't necessarily say they all have to be like they all have to look like normal people. I just want them to look like people instead of shadows. That's what
I
I'm
mean, they
trying to
do look
say.
like people. It just you can't see them.
Well, yeah, but
I've
there's
never
like
seen
there's
a
no
person like
definition
that
to them at all.
personally.
I have many
Oh,
times.
okay. Okay.
Oh, anyway.
I wish I tripped over some crabby girl's luggage, and then she yelled at me, and then I sneezed, and then I exploded, and then she yelled again, and I felt really, really bad, and I just wanted her to stop yelling at me. You! Oh God, it's happening again! You're lucky we weren't blown off the side of the cliff.
Oh my god, you really exploded.
It was an accident. It was an accident! What's this? The Schnee Dust Company is not responsible for any injuries or damages sustained while operating a Schnee Dust Company product, although
I love Just for Dummies. I like how it says Just for Dummies and other inadequate individuals. I like that even the brochure the SDC puts out is kind of snooty and condescending. Like either like as if Weiss wrote it or as if they're just all like that, which we will come to
I
find
think
later.
Weiss wrote it specifically to bring it to
Yeah,
to
she
the
wrote
end.
this since she walked away from Ruby outside.
She's
It's
like, I
all
just whipped this up
handwritten.
real quick.
The only thing that's spelt right on the pamphlet is dust. Everything else is misspelled.
Misspelled and then random capital letters in there.
Not sure why she would write like a clinical psychopath, but sure.
Because the princess is just a facade. She's
Eris?
actually a dummy herself. She's a dunce.
Mm.
She's a dolt.
You're trying to get a
Oh, God,
rise
not
out
the
of me, and
dolt.
I'm not going to engage.
not
it's-
mandatory. The
he's
Schnee
rage
Company
bait.
encourages their customers.
I'll keep this brief. You have traveled here today in search
I'll keep this brief. Glinda?
of knowledge, to hone your craft and acquire new skills. And when you have finished, you plan to dedicate your life to the protection of the people. But I look amongst you, and all I see is wasted energy, in need of purpose, direction.
Shit kind of goes hard though if you think about it. He's like giving him this seems kind of motivational at first, and then he's like, "Nope, you're all useless."
Yeah.
You assume knowledge will free you of this, but your time at this school will prove that knowledge can only carry you so far. It is up to you to take the first step.
You will gather in the ballroom tonight. Tomorrow, your initiation begins. Be ready. You are dismissed.
He seemed
Did she say the barn?
The ballroom.
ballroom.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Do we need to put subtitles on?
kind of off.
It's almost like he wasn't even there.
Yeah, I was
Almost
trying to
like
get
it
through
wasn't
that.
even his body.
It is a little odd. I heard that. No, it is a little odd. I almost wonder if it's. Yeah, I don't know if it's supposed to be referencing something I know, but it seems like something that maybe they just didn't follow up on. Because most people, when I see them watch this, they pick up on sort of the weird tone and energy he has, and then like it's almost like he wasn't even there, and he was like oddly ominous with how he gave that speech, and it just
I
seems like
wonder.
it almost seems like they were setting something up that they just didn't go that direction or something.
I almost wonder if that's kind of like a subtle foreshadowing to how to like with him and Oscar, where it's like two clashing personalities, but he's been there for so long to the point where they just like work together, and that's the personality that he wound up like
I think
co-inhabiting with,
I
so
think
to
we're
say. You know what I
I
mean?
think we're reaching and leaping to get. It's almost like he
I'm
wasn't
I'm
even
just
there. It means the other person in the body. Like I think that's I don't know.
I mean I'm just spitballing. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a little. It seems. It's probably. I mean, I could. It seems like it's meant to be like a Wizard of Oz reference because when they meet the wizard, he's this big, grand head, and then it's a dude behind the curtain running it. So it's almost like he wasn't even there seems like kind of a reference to that, how like the wizard they meet isn't real and they find the real guy like in a little, shed running the whole thing.
I feel like that would.
That might
I
be
feel
the
like that would make
reference.
more sense than what I said.
That's probably the reference, but it also should correspond to something in universe. I'm not actually sure what it does correspond to in universe.
I guess we'll just have to keep a note on that one and see if we can figure out what that is later.
Yeah.
I'm a natural blonde, you know.
Chad Arian.
Why did his voice echo?
It was the vril. It was the Chad Arian swag.
It's like a big slumber party. I don't think Dad would approve of all the boys, though.
I know I do.
Hell yeah.
Keep that in mind.
What's that? A letter to the gang back at Signal. I'm pretty sure Weiss counts as a negative friend. Back to 0.
There's
see
no
about
such
that.
thing as negative friends. You just made one friend and one enemy.
It's the top of the first
Look,
Ruby.
it's
Let's give
only
it
been
time.
one day. Trust me, you've got friends all around you. You just have.
Oh, by the way, sorry, I didn't point it out when I should have, but looking at the journal here, she's left-handed, as is Weiss. Now, of course, she fights pretty ambidextrous because when she's flipping her damn scythe all around, she puts her hands all kinds of places. You kind of have to be to use that. But Weiss fences left-handed, and they both write left-handed, and apparently that is influence of Monty, because he mocapped, especially Weiss, a lot, as I understand. I think he fenced in real life. And he's left-handed, and so his left-handedness kind of extended to her and Ruby, is my understanding of how that works.
Didn't he also cosplay as Weiss?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one I can think of off the top of my head, but he may have cosplayed as all of them at some point.
Hell
I think he
yeah.
did.
So technically, Ruby is just Monty self-insert.
They're all
no.
every main character is Monty and Ren. They're all his self-inserts.
They're all Monty inserts.
Haven't met them yet.
That girl.
You know her?
Not really. She saw what happened this morning, but left before I could say anything.
Well, now's your chance.
Well, wait, what are you doing?
Hello.
Oh, Christ.
I do like how Blake is ahead of her time, because the Ruby, this episode at least, came out like 20 years ago. And
Oh my god, it was
The-
12 years ago.
12.
Jesus.
it feels like 20.
Feels like
She's your stereotypical book talk smut reader.
Oh no.
I think maybe that's just something that existed long before TikTok, but sure.
It didn't. It didn't.
Okay. No, but
Yeah, smut books didn't exist before TikTok. What are you talking about?
yeah, I think as much as I would be too polite to act the way Blake does, I kind of understand the way she feels with Ruby getting drugged and Yang. Hello, I kind of understand being like, oh fuck, please no.
Oh, please leave me alone. I just
Yeah.
want to read
She's
my
like,
book.
leave me to my lotions.
That's your wife right there. You better be nice.
Ruby?
She's
You know
your
what?
wife, you
You
know.
two
Whatever
may
your
know
heart
each other.
desires, that's the fun.
Aren't you that girl that exploded?
Yeah. My name's Ruby. But you can just call me Crater. Actually, you can just call me Ruby.
Okay.
What are you doing? I don't know. Help me. So,
A little smile.
Yes, it's lovely. Almost as lovely as this book. That I will continue to read. As soon as you leave.
The awkward staring and smiling
Yeah.
while she's trying to get him to leave.
I love the blank smiles, just the blank stares, and dumb smiles. They're just giving her the whole time she's each pause. They're just like beaming at her, waiting for her to finish. I don't know. That's hilarious to me.
Yeah, this girl's a lost cause.
what's it about?
Huh?
Your book. Does it have a name?
Well, it's about a man with two souls, each fighting for control over his body.
Oh yeah.
Not so
that's
subtle foreshadowing.
Lovely.
I love books. Yang used to read me every night before bed. Stories of heroes and monsters. They're one of the reasons I want to be a huntress.
Why is that? Hoping you'll live happily ever after?
Well, I'm hoping we all will. As a girl, I wanted to be just like those heroes in the books. As someone
I'll tell you one thing. I've heard shit talked about, like, they're like, oh, Yang should be buffer. They kind of don't like that they all just have the exact same, essentially, body shape. But I will say, the lady female model they have that they're giving everybody has some fucking delts on them. Look at those capped ass delts. They got serious shoulders on them. You know what I mean? And I get it, it makes sense, especially for her. I feel like swinging that scythe around. Yeah, they got serious delts on them. I feel like couple little boulders there.
One who fought for what was right and who protected people who couldn't protect themselves.
That's very ambitious for a child. Unfortunately, the real world isn't the same as a fairy tale.
Well, that's why we're here. To make it better. Oh, I'm so proud of my baby sister. Cut it out!
Damn.
Bro, that
the
wasn't playing
whole ass
around.
hook.
Throwing
That was
haymakers.
a straight right from downtown. That was a serious fucking cross she threw. Can you imagine that? Like just and I think it kind of plays into the universe where they've got superpowers and shit and aura, so they can get away with that. But just like, oh, my sister's being annoying. What boom, like a fucking
Boom.
haymaker. It's wild. Although I guess, you know, you kind of do that with your brother, so I don't know. Maybe that is more normal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we've gotten into a couple of fights, but never anything like where I just like completely like
Yeah.
just got him with a hook
And just
all
like
the way back.
he just walks up and like, aw, and you're just like, douche.
It's like, boom.
fucking flail, like a cartoonish
Yeah.
fucking woo.
Now you're on my side. I was always on your side. Yeah, what's your problem with my sister? She's only trying.
Terrible book etiquette. You never do that to your book. Why not just put a bookmark and close it?
Oh, did she earmark it?
Did she core the
No,
page?
she had it in her hands, right? She
Yeah.
put it down, pages open.
Oh yeah.
She's clearly
Also-
not a real book lover.
Maybe she's a renegade. Maybe she doesn't care about your stupid etiquette. Goofy. She does her own thing. She's a little bit of a rebel, we might come to find out.
Trying to be nice. She's a hazard to my health.
You're
I
so
feel like
white
that's a
rice.
really
You're
good
so
way to
right,
end the
Weiss.
episode.
It's just crazy how right Weiss
You're
is all
so
the
white
time.
rice.
Yeah, I mean, equal. Also true. No, good couple of episodes here. We did, yeah, when I went ahead and combined them. I probably should have said that at the beginning. Combine them because, you know, they're both 6 minutes and these episodes are so short. So, yeah, another one in the books. Any final thoughts?
Oh, I feel a little bit of hope brimming again in my soul, but
I know!
I'm trying to keep
And
it,
then
I'm trying
you
to
get
keep
to
it
feel it.
capped
You get to-
because I know how it's going to be whenever season 5 comes around.
Yeah, and you get to feel the hope dashed all over again. It's like the closest thing I have to a time machine is to relive this peak and crash, just like it happened the very first time.
For you it may be season, or it may be volume 5, but for me it's the end of volume 3 that gets me.
Yeah, well, the end of Volume 3 is the last good one, I would argue. The end of Volume 5 is when I... Like, even after 4 was over, I was like, ooh, something was off about that. But I'm sure the next one will pick it up. And at the end of 5, I went, oh, no, Ruby's dead. Like, that was my experience.
Oh no. Well, I'm going to try and keep my hope capped for the time being, because...
So, well, that's what I feel like. That's something I feel like a lot of people miss from the like new RWBY bad people like us, and especially me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's something some people miss. It's like, you know, once upon a time, I was coming off of Volume 3, so excited, full faith and confidence, and then at the end of 4, I went, I didn't go in with I feel like they think that we were born with this Volume 4 is going to be bad mindset. No, I went in wanting it to be good, wanting to believe. Like, I had no reason to believe it wouldn't be. I had no bias
nobody wants their
against it.
favorite show
And
to
at the
be
end of
crap.
it, I went, something was off there.
I
And then
wanted the sacrifice at the end of 3 to be worth it. I wanted it to
Yeah.
be so bad.
And then going into 5, I was like, yeah, that one was a little weird, but that doesn't mean anything. I still went in with no bias against it, and if anything, a bias for it, because I love this show, and I'm trying to be like, you know, I think, if anything, in 4, there was a slight bias for it, because I kind of, like, swept my weird feelings that it wasn't quite right under the rug. But then by the end of 5, I was like, oh, fuck, okay. So, I don't know, it's not like I feel like it happens a lot in every direction in all sorts of situations, but you sort of get dismissed as like a hater, and it's like, no, I fucking love this show, and it lost me like it was basically playing with a handicap because I was like bought in, like this is gonna be
Yeah.
great, and it still lost me. So this is an example of like a hater, like going into it trying to find it bad. This is someone who loved it that fell off, and so I think I'm coming from a position that is not negative. I'm coming from a position where I loved
You
it
were
and I was
hopeful and you
almost
wanted it to be good.
forced to admit that like, oh shit, it's kind of over for me.
It's not what you remember. It's not the
Yeah.
same anymore.
Well, you either live long enough to become a villain, or you die a hero.
You got it. That was mostly right.
But
It's
is
a
that
little
not
back-
how it's supposed to...
It's just you're the die a hero live. You just flipped him, but it's fine. That's like 90% correct.
That's the sentiment is what matters.
Hell yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's it. Do you guys have anything else to add?
That's another one for the book. Because look, if the intervals keep getting shorter between each episode, then eventually, it was like 2 months, and now it's been like a few weeks, and then eventually we'll be coming out with like one every 6 minutes.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
God, maybe not every
if we
6
just keep cutting this in
Just
half.
live stream it, and it's instantaneous.
it's just gonna be a constant live stream of us watching the show.
Invite all of our subscribers to our house and just watch it with us. And we just have a
Hell
discussion with them.
yeah.